Hey everyone, it's Professor Fiction, and today we're going to be talking about some One Punch Man. In particular, we're going to be talking about one of the most popular debates in the series, Garou versus Suiryu. Since Season 2 the anime came out, and even earlier since the manga, these two have been fan-favorite characters and often debated about who is the strongest between the two. I think One Punch Man power scaling especially is very interesting because most fans have a very amateurish view of power scaling the series. This is most likely due to the One Punch Man threat level system, which is a basic form of power scaling, not unlike Dragon Ball Z's power levels or Naruto's ninja ranks. This, however, gives One Punch Man fans a false perception of power scaling and thinking that these threat levels are the end-all be-all. For example, who wins in a fight? Kombu Infinity, a threat level tiger monster, or the Three Crows, a threat level demon monster? Does the fact that the Three Crows has a higher threat level automatically mean it's above Kombu Infinity, even though Kombu Infinity has way better feats? That's a genuine question for some One Punch Man fans. Luckily for this debate, we don't need to much get into threat levels or stuff like that, though I may mention it here or there. It's mostly going to be direct scaling and feats and stuff like that. Lastly, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and follow my One Punch Man Feats Instagram account in the description below. With that in mind, let's get started by power scaling Suiryu. Power scaling Suiryu is a task in and of itself, not only because he has very few feats that can actually scale to Garou and other characters. What I mean by this is a lot of Suiryu's feats look extremely impressive on paper, like Suiryu breaks the arena in half, Suiryu darts around the battlefield, in which, in all honesty, these feats aren't super impressive in comparison to characters who are dodging beams of light or blowing up large portions of mountains. If we're actually going to power scale him relative to Garou, we need to add a little more nuance to the equation. The people we can mostly scale Suiryu to are Lightning Max and Snek, two A-class heroes who you probably didn't give two thoughts about when you first saw them fight Suiryu. The reason we can scale Suiryu off of them is because they both had encounters with Deep Sea King. Lightning Max was able to take one hit from Deep Sea King in his base form without passing out, and Snek was able to dodge one hit from Hydrated Deep Sea King, whereas Suiryu blitzed and one-shot both of them. Suiryu then uses even more of his power against Saitama, revealing more and more of his power as the fight goes on, like some alien Frieza Chad from the Namek saga. Even Genos, who with one arm was able to box with base Deep Sea King and hold his own, and in a later form even defeated a virtual version of Deep Sea King in the audiobooks, which are way more important than people think, but we can therefore comfortably scale Suiryu around Deep Sea King either in Hydrated or base, depending on if you're talking about power speed. Maybe for a higher end scale, you could maybe scale him to G4 Genos, who was stronger than Deep Sea King as they literally fought in the virtual simulation, and Genos won. I've seen some people scale Suiryu's durability off of Goku Tetsu and Bakuzan, who beat the absolute shit out of him despite him being able to get back up and again and again. This really wouldn't work, as Goketsu and Bakuzan especially were both implied to have been holding back, as Goketsu tossed Suiryu aside as soon as he was done having his fun. Bakuzan explains he enjoys torturing people. Goketsu even breaks Suiryu's arm with a casual punch, and as soon as he's done beating the shit out of Suiryu, he throws him aside, and the Three Crows, a threat level demon, who individually are weaker than Snek and Lightning Max, absolutely fondle him in hand-to-hand. If you want to say that maybe his durability scales significantly above G4 Genos, who was one-shot by Goketsu in a similar situation, then sure, but actually scaling his durability to Goketsu's AP really does not work. Scaling Garou, unlike Suiryu, is a lot easier because he's had a lot more fights. Even when he's heavily wounded with more injuries than one could count on a hand, Garou is able to hold his own in hand-to-hand with Genos. This Genos is an upgraded version of G4 Genos, and is stated explicitly to be more powerful than his past iteration. Even granting Suiryu equal power and speed to G4 Genos, a heavily weakened Garou would already be rivaling, if not surpassing that based on this feat. An example of a full power Garou, although probably weaker than the one we're using in this video as it's implied he gets stronger every time he fights, was able to easily dominate Tank Top Master, who is explicitly stated to have strength on par with Genos. Garou's speed is an entirely different monster, as he was able to constantly blitz and outpace Metal Bat in a pumped up state. For those who don't know, in the audiobook Genos Training, Genos, after defeating a virtual Deep Sea King and a virtual Mosquito Girl, challenges a virtual Carnage Kabuto to test his skills. Despite all his upgrades, Carnage Kabuto defeats him before Genos can even finish the sentence. Genos challenges him another 55 times, and Carnage Kabuto obliterates him every single time. Metal Bat then takes a swing at Carnage Kabuto, and no pun intended, he's actually able to hold his own and fight for 3 minutes against Kabuto. It would be one thing if this was just his freakish endurance at play and he was only just getting the tar beaten out of him and getting back up. However, it explicitly explains that he doesn't have his fighting spirit in the simulation, as it can't replicate his abilities. It's even somewhat explained that Metal Bat is holding his own and throwing attacks at Carnage Kabuto instead of just standing around and getting blitzed all the time, so his speed should be significantly above G4 Genos. Despite being extremely amped and pumped up on top of his extremely fast base state, Metal Bat is not able to land a single blow on Garou. If Suiryu and G4 Genos are somewhat in the same tier in terms of speed, and Metal Bat is so much faster than Genos, Suiryu might not even be able to land a single attack on Genos in their entire battle, no matter what he tries, due to the massive speed gap. Regarding martial arts, Garou should have a significant advantage, as he has a far longer and more dynamic history when it comes to martial arts. Whereas Suiryu often expresses that he's mostly only strong for the fun of it and mostly fights opponents that are significantly weaker than he is, like Lightning Max and Snek, Garou often fights opponents who are equal to or stronger than he is physically speaking, such as Metal Bat or Tank Top Master. Garou has also defeated many dojos and stolen their martial arts, and has even copied unusual fighting styles such as Tank Top Master's brawling techniques or Watchdog Man's bestial fighting style. I don't want to get too much into the actual science of martial arts, but you can basically think of Garou as a pro MMA fighter who learns multiple martial arts, and Suiryu as someone who learns karate on the side for self-defense. Garou also has some more unusual abilities as a martial artist, such as the ability to read his opponent's moves before they even make them, which in combination with a huge speed gap would make it even harder for Suiryu to touch Garou. And Garou's ability to learn and memorize fighting styles on the fly, meaning he could probably copy Suiryu's fighting style and use it against him. I've seen some people use the OVA from Season 2 to try and argue that Suiryu and Garou have equal hand-to-hand abilities. I'll explain now why that's not true. For those who haven't seen the OVA from Season 2, Garou and Suiryu take part in a video game tournament in which their martial arts are reflected through a virtual simulation in which they get to fight each other in a fighting game. In the game, raw stats aren't at play here, as Saitama, who obviously has the highest stats in the verse, is totally dominated by King, who's just playing with a normal controller. Meaning it's likely that all players are put in an equal stat scenario, so only skill is at play. In the actual fight, Garou is able to counter Suiryu's Sky Dragon Fist with a normal punch. Suiryu then uses his Rising Phoenix Fist, which Garou instantly counters with the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist, hitting it back at Suiryu. Since this also probably takes place before the events of One Punch Man Season 2, Suiryu would only get weaker as he's not training at all and is getting rustier, whereas Garou would only get stronger as he fights more powerful opponents over time. At the end, Garou implies he's not even going all out, and then moves so fast that the game can't even follow his movements and instantly glitches out, a feat Suiryu never replicates. Suiryu's only really saving grace here is the Void Phoenix Rising Fist. Chose, a monster who is a stat rival to Suiryu and was considered somewhat impressive by Goketsu, is one-shot by this technique. If we say Chose has relative durability to Suiryu, or just that he's able to take attacks from a full power Suiryu, then Suiryu's Phoenix Rising Fist would more than likely be able to one-shot someone on the level of G4 Genos. This sounds really impressive, however, Garou would still be able to counter this. Tank Top Master explains that Garou is able to nullify, reflect, and deflect attacks coming at him and send them back at people with twice the force. He does this against Metal Bat, with Metal Bat able to one-shot the threat level demon monster Senior Centipede. Senior Centipede was stated by Murata, the illustrator of One Punch Man, to be so durable that Genos in his G4 state wouldn't even be able to damage him. It would need his upgraded attacks, likely referring to the later Genos that fought Garou, to even damage him. We could say that Suiryu's Ascension Phoenix Fist has relative AP to a swing from pumped up Metal Bat, in which Garou, when facing a more pumped up and stronger Metal Bat, is able to deflect dozens of these swings coming at him at the same time and hit them back at Metal Bat. If Suiryu is able to one-shot people with the same durability as he has with his Phoenix Ascension Fist, then Garou deflecting it back at him with twice the force would instantly kill Suiryu, and there's nothing he could do about it. It would honestly just be a way easier GG for Garou in that case. Even when both are heavily weakened and exhausted from combat, Garou's feats stand out as far more impressive than Suiryu's. After a beatdown from Goketsu, Suiryu is barely strong enough to stand up and fight against the three crows. A group of 3 mindless crow monsters who, in a group, are considered threat level demon, and are so weak individually that Lightning Max and Snek could easily handle them one-on-one. Compare this to Garou, who in a similar condition to Suiryu, manages to fight and defeat a squad of 8 A and B class heroes using extreme teamwork against him, and still has enough strength left over to hold his own with upgraded Genos, who on his own would probably give Suiryu a run for his money. In the end, Garou doo-doos and PPs all over Suiryu with his way better speed and martial arts. Even granting Suiryu better durability and power, he'd never be able to land a single attack on Garou, and Garou would eventually be able to defeat him by whittling him down, adapting, or figuring out some other way to defeat him. Garou often wins when the odds are stacked against him, as even when Bang and Bomb were beating the ever-living shit out of him, Garou was adapting and getting stronger by the second. So even a wanked Suiryu is getting blitzed and no-diffed by Garou. He probably wouldn't even need to use his adaptability or use his special breathing technique which he used against the heroes before. Garou would do Suiryu the same way he did Metalbat, blitzing him and pummeling him over and over again with Metalbat unable to do anything against him. Only Suiryu wouldn't even have the benefit of Fighting Spirit, so it would be an even worse stomp in Garou's favor. And this is still all giving Suiryu the benefit of the doubt in power and durability, which in all honesty Garou has better feats in anyway. Garou wins, no difficulty. And that's Garou vs Suiryu. I know this came a little late, considering One Punch Man relevance has died since Season 2 came out, but I felt a lot of people on YouTube have done this topic dirty, and it would be a great way to segue into more One Punch Man scaling, which will be coming in the future. Eventually I plan on doing Garou vs Boros, however, I'm gonna wait till the current arc in the manga concludes just so that we can get a far more concrete answer than comparing manga and webcomic feats, which are extremely difficult to compare. If you guys think of any other cool One Punch Man topics or scaling to talk about, feel free to leave it in the comments below. For those who disagree with the video, I'll be leaving a link to a Discord called White Lotus, which is where I do most of my debating, in the description below. If you like debating in general, or just want to debate yours truly, feel free to join the Discord server below. Don't even bother leaving a refutation in the comments, just join the Discord and we can have a debate. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.